Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Primetime Carolina, where your Carolina Panthers are on something that's called a win streak. Now, if you've never heard of it before, it's when you win a bunch of games in a row. I know it's a new concept, but all joking aside, Dave, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
I appreciate you clarifying what a win streak is for me. I'm gonna put that in the dictionary right next to this other new term I learned called a road win. I just learned about that one on Sunday. Had never heard of that before, but I'm
Wow.
excited to keep adding all these winning definitions to my personal dictionary that words I was not accustomed to hearing.
That's all we do is win. If you are a Panthers fan these last couple weeks, and I did not know. I guess I just have been so emotionless about losing. I did not know that we had the longest losing streak in the NFL on the road. I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, they said it went back to what, a year ago, basically, a little over a year ago.
Yeah, like in
So
November, I think.
I think
I
what
don't
is
even
it?
remember
There it is, 1-5 this year on the road. That's pretty crazy. That takes a
who was
special team to be
who was
zero
that?
and
Was
five
that
on the road.
against the Cardinals last year? The Cam Newton game? Has it been that long?
I think there was one since then.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to
that's
do
what
my
it's.
research.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and look. But yeah, so the Carolina Panthers get it done yesterday in Seattle, 30-24. Panthers one game out of the NFC South. The Seahawks drop. They are no longer in the wild card position. They are in the hunt. This game, you think about it in the 2010s, this was a very underrated rivalry in the NFL. Panthers Seahawks games were extremely good games. Unfortunately, we ended up on the wrong side of most of them, but we did have a couple wins here and there. And I just want to give a quick shout out to that rivalry, man. That was a lot of fun. That's where I developed my strong dislike for Russell Wilson for many years of my life because he would always pull things out against us and playing against that defense. And it just seemed like we could never get over the hump against Seattle until 2015 when we finally did it.
Yeah, big facts. As I was watching the game yesterday, um, that hate that was deep in my heart started coming rushing back. My hatred for the Seahawks that I had kind of suppressed it a little bit. I had been cheering for Geno Smith here this year. I thought, you know what? I guess I never really hated the Seahawks. I just hated Russell Wilson. But as the game went on and I listened to all those loud fans, those loud Seattle fans, I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember now. I do hate these guys." So it was a nostalgic feeling to hate the Seahawks yesterday.
I agree. And to add on to that, I had no idea Bruce Irving was still in the league, and he plays for the Seahawks.
Yes, he does.
Did not know that.
Man
So it,
refuses to retire. If I remember correctly, he came into the league the same year as Cam Newton,
yeah, I think it
same
was
draft.
2011. Yeah, so he's
2011 or 2012 might have been the year after. I'm not sure. I think it was 2011 though. But regardless, he's been in the league for a long time now.
he has. So the Panthers get it done yesterday in what was a must-win game for this team in terms of making the playoffs, keeping pace in the lackluster NFC South, and they got that done. And I got to tell you, we all knew the recipe for the Panthers to win this game. Play good defense, run the football, Sam Darnold not make any mistakes, anything too costly, and you're going to put yourself in a position to win. And that's exactly what happened. The Panthers jump out to a quick start off a J.C. Horn pick. He almost had two picks in this game. He should have had two picks in this game. And the Panthers defense, if there was ever a game where somebody was like, hey, let's run the football, this was that. I think the Panthers had over 40 rushing attempts in this game, 46 rushing attempts in this game. Um, this was the definition of ground and pound, and well, it led us to victory.
And obviously, that is the formula for the Panthers right now. Not only in this game, but since Steve Wilkes took over the team, and obviously moving forward from now until the end of the season, this is what they got to do: play good defense, pound the rock, wear the opposing teams out. Possess the ball, win the time of possession battle. This is gonna be the formula, man. Don't put the ball in Sam Darnold's hands. Just let him make the plays that are there. Keep it as easy for him as possible. And This is what they got to do, and this is what the team is built to do. This is what Steve Wilkes wants to do. This matches his coaching philosophy. So, it's what they should have been doing for a couple years now. And we talked about it many, many times on this podcast, how this team was built to run the football. And Matt Rule would always talk about how he wants to commit to running the football, and he would just never do it. And now we're seeing what this team would look like with a coach that is willing to actually commit to what he's talking about. And that's what we've seen over the last couple of weeks. And, it seems like this team's really coming together. They're getting hot at the right time. It's about to get real interesting down the stretch.
It's funny. I remember this one guy. He used to be a coach on our team. His name was Matthew Rule. And he used to say something like, we need to run the football. We need to establish the run. We need to run the football more times than pass the football, whatever. And it's funny because he never quite did that. But the guy that took over for him did that, or is doing that, and is having a lot more success than him. I just wanted to point that out.
You know what I was thinking about earlier that kind of made me chuckle? How frustrating do you think it had to be Steve Wilkes, who's clearly a better NFL coach than the guy who came before him? But he was on his staff, so he had to sit there and watch him try to coach in the NFL for 6 weeks or whatever it was, knowing that he was a much better coach. But he had to just stand there, fall in line, and listen to what the big dumb liar had to say.
It's funny you bring that up because I remember early on in the season when the Panthers were on a complete free fall, that one of the guys from the C3 Panthers podcast, he put out that tweet that was like he's got an inside source saying that Wilkes is upset with how people are being used. People think the Rule thing is a scam. He's a college coach. It's not working. No one believes him. They're trying to trade players. And a lot of that came out to be true. And it was because Steve Wilkes was like, hey, we're not putting these guys in a position to be to run the ball effectively and to use our players to their personnel, use our personnel to the best of our ability. And, you're seeing it's not sexy football, but the Panthers are doing what they can do best at this moment. And, obviously you want to see the quarterback situation get figured out, but to me, it's been really fun seeing like 7-8 linemen on the ball and then a fullback in Cade Mays, offensive lineman, lining up there and just running the football. Like, it's just really fun to me.
Yeah, today Bradley Bozeman, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't Bradley Bozeman, it was Brady Christensen, did an interview with the media, and he said they asked him about the personnel group they had yesterday. They brought in 8 offensive linemen at one time for a play, and they asked him about that personnel group. He said, yeah, it's called Arby's because we got the meats. And I said, and man, Arby's is the perfect name for a package with 8 offensive linemen. Either that or like meatball or something, thick burger. I mean, Arby's is pretty good. I think they got it. I think they got it right.
Dude, that is hilarious. I love that, Arby's.
Yeah, I heard that and I was like, man, that's just perfect. They really nailed that one.
That's
what
great.
we're seeing from this team is just like so fun. I mean, it's not Chiefs fun to watch, but it's like old school fun to watch. Just pounding the rock at the other team and just saying, if you can't stop us, we're just gonna keep doing it. And especially if you look in this game, in that second half, especially when Seattle was trying to make a push, for a comeback in this game, the way they were able to just take the air out of the football, just grind the clock down all the way to the end of the game. And I understand Seattle's not the best, run stopping defense in the league, but for the team to be able to go out there and grind it out, that showed what type of team they are. For them to put the game away the way they did, and it just feels so classic Panthers. All the good Panthers teams of the past have run the football well and played good defense, and that's what this team set up to do. So, it feels like watching the Panthers again. So I'm so glad that we're like back to what we do, and that's play defense, pound the rock. It just feels good to watch real Panther football again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't care what day and age it is. I understand that passing and being creative offensively is, the way of the game now. I completely agree and understand that. But I always think, and I think it's shown that for most teams that win the Super Bowl late in the year in the playoffs, what travels? Running the football and good defense. That is what you need. You can have the hottest offense in the NFL. You go up against a tough defense and you can get snuffed out. That's just how it works. So to be in a position where, you're doing two things where you're trying to prepare for a playoff run, I am not saying the Panthers are going to win the Super Bowl or anything or make a run, but they could be a tough team to play against, considering if you're a higher seed and you're coming into a game against a team with a losing record that won their division, like, we shouldn't even be playing these guys, but they're going to give you a tough battle.
Yeah, you never want to face a team, in December and January that is good at playing defense and running the football, because that's something that travels to any stadium in the NFL, and that's something that translates well with cold weather. So if I'm anybody in the NFC and I'm looking at the Panthers right now, I'm looking to avoid playing them at all costs, because, man, they're a tough nosed team right now. They are a totally different team under Steve Wilkes than they were at the beginning of the season, and that just goes to show what type of coach he is, what type of leader he is, what type of mentality he brings. The guys fall in line behind him. It is so hard to not cheer for Steve Wilkes right now, and I think you see that when you look around the league. For the people who are starting to take notice of the Panthers, one of the big reasons they want to support them and want to see them succeed is because of Steve Wilkes. And, yeah, I mean, it's when you have a guy like that who just all he does is try to do the right thing and work hard and grind his way to success, how could you not cheer for him? And it's so refreshing after, the last 2 years for all the nonsense we've seen from, the Matt Rule era. So I'm excited,
Yeah,
man. I'm excited. It's gonna be interesting down the stretch.
it's been fun. Now it's at this point in the podcast where I make Dave say something nice about Chuba Hubbard, because he had 14 carries, 74 yards, 5.3 yards on the ground, and a touchdown. Dave, you must say something nice about Chuba Hubbard now.
The man is capable of running through a wide open hole. I'll give him that. Yesterday, the offensive line was clearing those holes open, wide open. He was able to, scoot through there and get some yards. I mean, I'm not saying, I mean, he was able to do it. I think most running backs in the league could have run through the holes that were prepared by the offensive line for Chuba yesterday, but, you know, props to him. And I've always said, Chuba doesn't do much well, but he does have a gift when it comes to his ability to accelerate. So yesterday we saw him accelerate through some holes. Like I say, credit to the offensive line, but I'll hey, you know what? Shout out to Chuba. He had a good game yesterday. I'll stop right there.
My man. Yo, another guy, look, we all know about Deontay Foreman. Guy's been an absolute monster truck. Love giving him the ball. He's been a very, very good player. Another player I want to shout out is Raheem Blackshear, dude. This guy kind of came out of nowhere. And he has been, a little a ball of electricity. I mean, the guy, he's very good on punt returns, kickoff returns. He's very fast, shifty, and when he gets the ball in his hands, it almost always results in a positive play. And he had a touchdown yesterday. I know, running behind that offensive line, anybody can look good, but I feel like I want to give him some props, man. He's done some nice things here and there.
Yeah, to me, he's been awesome. To me, he's the type of running back that people seem to think Chuba Hubbard is. And I'm not trying to knock Chuba again, but he's a playmaker, man. He can get out in space, make guys miss, catch the ball. To me, he's the Panthers clear cut number 2 running back, in my opinion. I know it doesn't look like that as far as how the carries are split up or what the depth chart may look like, but to me, he's the clear number 2 back. He can make plays, man. He's got an ability to make something happen when it's not there, make guys miss, break tackles. He's got a lot of bursts, shifty little guy. Very similar to what Amir Abdullah was last year for the Panthers. In the second half of the season when he started getting a significant amount of touches. But I think he and Deontay Foreman would make uh, a very, very good 1-2 punch if he was able to get more carries. But not to take anything away from Chuba again, he had a good game. But I would like to see Blackshear get some more opportunities in there because I think he has more of um, an ability to jumpstart the offense and make things happen when there's not really something there for him. Whereas Chuba, I
Correct.
think he'll make the play that's there, but I don't feel like he's always going to get more yards than he should, which is what good backs do.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one more point about, the run game and the offensive line before we move on to something else. I remember, for the past couple years, it just seemed like the Panthers, even at the beginning of this season for a little bit, they just could not stop the run. And they would get in these positions against these teams where they would just get manhandled up front.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just as a player and as a fan and just it really takes your will like away. You're like, man, we just cannot stop these guys. And the Panthers just imposed their will on this defense yesterday, and they just ran all over them. And that is so deflating, like to watch if you're the other team that it's happening to. It is so deflating because you cannot stop it, and there's nothing you can do. And it felt nice to do that to somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I mean, the identity of this team is completely different. If you look at, like you said, it's been happening to us for the majority of the last couple of years. The defense would spend most of the game on the field because the offense couldn't move the ball, but they would insist on trying to spread it out and pass it when they had no business doing that. Now the script is completely flipped. You look at yesterday, where is the time of possession on the screen anywhere? I know I heard it today, and it was very much in the Panthers' favor. I think it was something crazy like 42 minutes time of possession, or excuse me, 38. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is the Panthers dominated time of possession. Um, that wears down the defense. It keeps your defense fresh, and that's exactly what we saw yesterday. By the end of the game, Seattle could not stop the Panthers from rushing for a first down, and when they got back out there, the Panthers defense was fresh. They were able to get a little bit of pressure towards the end of the game. It wasn't as consistent as it needed to be, but they were able to get pressure towards the end of the game. We saw the secondary looked fresh. J.C. Horn obviously almost had a game-sealing interception, which, by the way, if you want to talk about that play for a second, it was odd to me how quickly they came back and reversed that call because it didn't look so obvious when they ran that replay. Seemed like, if anything, they would stick with the call on the field, which was an interception.
Yeah, I agree. And the way I looked at it was that I figured we were going to get screwed on the Terrace Marshall catch, which was a catch, by the way. I just felt like we were going to get screwed by that just
Facts.
because. And I was like, you know what? They're not going to give both us both of those. But there were a lot of toe tapping interceptions, catches, touchdown plays yesterday
Yeah.
that were reviewable.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyler Lockett
Um,
had an awesome catch in the back of the end zone as well for that. I think it was their first touchdown. Seemed
yeah,
like Geno Smith made that throw a little more difficult than he needed to for Tyler Lockett, but
yeah.
yeah.
It
Then you
was
had the Terrace Marshall ball sack catch, which was
correct.
will go down in infamy with the
What's
butt
better,
fumble.
that or the Demir Bird butt catch?
Ooh, the butt catch or the ball sack catch?
I don't know, man. We're gonna have
They
to
were
post a
both
poll.
equally sexy to me, so
Let's post a poll on Twitter and be like, what's better?
yeah, that's a good idea. We'll have to do that after we get off of here.
So flipping. Well, actually, before we flip sides, let's talk about Sam Darnold. He's not doing anything wrong. He's not doing anything great. He's just there, and I'm okay with that. However, I do want to see them just loosen up that leash just a little bit. Yesterday was, maybe an exception because they were running the ball really, really well, so they didn't need to pass the ball. But I feel like Sam is capable of making a couple more plays throwing the ball than he did yesterday. He did underthrow DJ Moore on that seam route. That was a touchdown. He messed up there. I don't know if that was timing or what that was, but maybe they're just bringing him along slowly. But I just want to see him just loosen up just a little bit.
He frustrated me yesterday because I felt like there was a lot of opportunities for him to take the ball and run, which he did on that one play. I don't remember what down and distance it was. I want to say it was a third down. I can't remember, but he took and he ran for 24 yards or whatever it was. And I was like, man, I've been waiting for him to do that all game because I felt like it was there. And I felt like he had more opportunities to do it after that, specifically over there at the goal line. When the Panthers went turned the ball over on downs inside the Seahawks 5-yard line, I felt like he could have run at least one of those in. So I would like to see him do that a little bit more because I know he has the athleticism to do it. We've seen it in the past. He started last year with 5 touchdowns in the first 4 weeks or whatever crazy stat it was. He's had some nice runs in his career, even going back to his days with the Jets. So we know he can run the ball. I would like to see him keep it a little bit more. But as far as what you were saying, all we need him to do is manage the game. That's all we've asked for every Panthers quarterback so far this season. If he can manage the game, make 1 or 2 throws a game that we don't really expect him to make, sort of like that long bomb he threw to DJ Moore on the play action pass last week against Denver. If he can just do a little bit extra on top of managing the game, picking up a couple first downs with his feet a game, we're going to be in a good position. We're going to have a chance to win probably every game left on our schedule. It's not like we have the most daunting schedule the rest of the way the next 4 games. So, just make the plays that are there. Maybe do a little extra something saucy on the side, and we should be good to go.
I agree. I'm in with the extra saucy on the side. I like that. You do enough to manage the game, and then Sam is very capable of making a couple plays that make you go, wow, this guy could be something. And then, he just kind of does what he does. So that would be great. I could easily be down with that. And then flipping the switch here, going on the defensive side of the ball. Panthers defense, they played pretty well yesterday. I know it says they gave up 24 points. One of those was in the garbage time. They kind of gave up at the end. But for the most part, this team played very good against one of the better offenses in the NFL at home. They held the run game in check. I know that the Seahawks had their third string running back game, but they held the run game in check. They held Geno Smith in check. Geno Smith, 2 interceptions, and they did a pretty good job. They one thing they didn't do was get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but they were able to make up for it in the secondary by forcing some turnovers.
Yeah, and the pressure wasn't as consistent as we would have liked, but I think at the end of the day, they still had like 3 sacks or something. So the production was decent, but yeah, you definitely want to see a more consistent pass rush than what we saw yesterday. But yeah, absolutely great game for the defense. I mean, you're going up against Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. That's as good as it's going to get as far as wide receiver duos go. And for the most part, they held him in check. Obviously, J.C. Horn had an outstanding game. And C.J. Anderson got an interception as well. And I felt like overall he played one of his better games, really, of his career with the Panthers. So can't complain. I think the team definitely missed Xavier Woods yesterday. I don't know how soon he's supposed to be back, but I think the team really needs him to make his way back as soon as possible. And then obviously there's some linebackers that are hurt as well. So hopefully this team can get 100% and get everybody back on defense so they can be full strength moving forward because they got some must-win games. They're fighting for a playoff spot. Who would have – hey, look at us. Who would have thought?
Hey, who would have thought?
Not me.
Yeah, it's funny because this is what people imagine the Panthers would look like at the beginning of the year and for most of the year. A team that was going to run the football, have a quarterback in who we thought at the time Baker Mayfield would, do enough, make a couple plays here and there, and that, the Panthers would be in a good position and play good defense. Well, it didn't start out that way, but it seems like it's trending in that direction. So, you think about it, if the Panthers had this type of football beginning of the year, I mean, they would be easily winning this division. And it's frustrating to think about, but hey, we're here now and we have a chance just like we did in 2014.
Yeah, certainly. And you look at a couple of fluky losses we've had this season as well. For example, Cleveland and Atlanta both come to mind as far as games where we just kind of lost to the end, and it wasn't even really our fault. A lot of it was the officials giving us the short end of the stick. But
Definitely Atlanta.
all you can ask for is an opportunity to control your own destiny, which the Panthers do right now. And if you told us that, a month ago, we would have never believed you, but here we are. So
it's funny because after
Panthers
all those
Nation, let's ride.
Exactly. It's funny because after all those losses, like you just wanted to be like, all right, it's over. Like I'm tired of having hope. I understand the division sucks, but like I'm just tired of it. And then you win a game, and then you win 2 games. You're like, oh well.
Well, how early was this fan base, us included, talking about tanking for the draft, the next quarterback we're going to draft? All those conversations.
Like 0-2.
Now here we are. It's funny. I was thinking about this the other day, and I don't know if you remember this, Tanner, but you'd have to go back to whenever we first started this podcast. I talked about how Matt Rule, how it was going to be a 3-year build with Matt Rule, and how by year 3 we'd be ready to take the division and go to the playoffs. And I thought about how now we're in the position for that to happen, but I had no idea how crazy it was going to get and how off script it was going to get. We have a shot at making the playoffs, but it does not look anything like what I thought it would look like.
No, it does not, but stranger things have happened. I mean, 2014, I really don't remember all that much until the very end of the season when we started. I know we had a lot of injuries that year. We just weren't really playing that well. We lost a lot of talent that year because 2013 we had no cap space. We couldn't re-sign anybody. So you just had Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, and just a bunch of guys, and the division sucked, and they were able to make a run, and they won a playoff game that year.
You know why you don't remember anything until the end? All the vodka.
That's right. That's all it was.
Because the first half of the season was so unwatchable.
Yep. And we had a tie that season. I remember that. I was like, I cannot believe we just had a tie. Ridiculous.
Yeah, the tie was the game where Vontaze Burfict tried to rip Greg Olson's leg off.
Vontaze Burfict. Perfect stand-up citizen and football player.
The man who single-handedly turned Antonio Brown insane. I was thinking about how Antonio Brown was like walking around like, I'm an insane celebrity. And then like Kanye was like, hold my beer. And
maybe Kanye secretly got hit by Vontaze Burfict.
Bro, Vontaze Burfict put a number on Kanye.
Out here just destroying everybody's life and brain.
That's what a Vontaze hit looks like when you don't have a helmet on.
Basically. So, Panthers, they have a chance. And, shout out to, and I want to take this time to just talk about Steve Wilkes for a little bit. It's been a long time since I've really listened to like a post-game, like in locker room, like speech, especially for the Panthers, because I typically just don't really care. And we've been so bad for the past couple of years. I haven't really had an incentive to, but I think every game since he's become head coach, especially the wins, I've watched the locker room after, and it just, I love the one he had yesterday. He was like, we protect the bank. We don't lose at the bank. Like, this man calls it the bank. Like, it's not home. Like, no, it's the bank. I love that. Like, that is like that's the Panther fandom coming out in you. Like, whenever we talk about the stadium, we call it the bank. We don't call it the Bank of America Stadium. Like, I love that. Yeah. I love the energy. I love everybody getting fired up. And these guys, they
He's
love
a hometown kid.
Guy.
He knows.
Yeah.
He knows.
He is. He is. He knows, and it's just great to see. And it's tough because and this brings me to my next point where you got. I feel like the fan base is kind of split in half right now. You've got half that are we're winning, we're playing well. Like I know we're not the best, but like, hey, we have a chance. Give it to me. And then you got the other half that's like, screw this, I want to lose. Let's tank so we can get a better draft position. I understand both positions, but um, you know, I just want to say that these guys, man, you just cannot. This isn't the NBA. You can't expect these guys just to tank and not care. It's just not going to happen. These guys, they want to win. They want to play hard. Their careers are limited. And when they get a guy in there they like playing for, they are not going to go in there and lay down.
No, yeah. The tanking dream is over. It's time to go make the playoffs.
Exactly. I mean, I think most people were on the tanking train earlier in the season because whenever things look so bad, like it couldn't get any worse. And I think most people were in favor for that. But then, you get this transformation of this team into what we thought they really could be, and it's hard. It's just hard to root against them. Like earlier in the season, yeah, under Matt Rule, but I like to think of this season in two halves so far: the Matt Rule half, and then the Steve Wilkes half. And the Steve Wilkes half has been a lot better.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And the biggest thing is he knew what he wanted the identity of the team to be, and he stuck to it until it became a reality. And that's ultimately the big difference between the two coaches that we've seen over the past year. One was able to build a team identity and stick to it, and the other one was just all over the place all the time with every decision he made. So here we are, and we've got a shot. We've got a shot.
We have got a shot. My only random nitpick about this game and the Panthers offense is if I see Ben McAdoo call one more Laviska Shenault out of the backfield screen.
Hey man, don't disrespect Laviska like that.
Dude, I love Laviska. I think he is a good player and can do some really nice things that a lot of other players can't do. I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming the play call because I kid you not, every time he did that, the ball came his way. I was like, eventually someone's going to read that and it is going to be a pick six to the house. I don't know. Every time
I
I
see
see
what
it,
you're saying, but I think the reason they do it so much is to keep the defense honest because it takes somebody out of the play and it makes that read option easier. Honestly, I think the best way to slow that play down or to prevent what you're talking about, I mean, it would be to have Sam Darnold keep it more, which he hasn't done. If Sam keeps it more, then any defender that's thinking about going after Shenault has another thing to think about. But Sam Darnold hasn't really given that look to the defenses yet. But yeah, I feel you. I understand how it could be risky. And actually, as I was watching the game, I was thinking about I wonder how many times they're going to keep running that before they run some type of double move off of it and take a shot deep. But
yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
haven't seen it yet, but it is possible. But yeah, I love Laviska. I think he can do a lot of cool things, a lot of good things in the offense. Looking at the stats now, we got 4 games left. It says right now DJ Moore has 605 receiving yards. Is there any way in hell this man can get to 1,000 for the season's over?
Any way in hell, yes. Likely, probably not.
He's going to need like 1 or 2 like really big games.
Yeah, because obviously your brain says get 100 yards a game, but I don't see that as likely the way
Correct.
the season's gone. So
Very true.
probably would need a couple big games sprinkled in with some average games.
Absolutely.
Which he has had big games. That Atlanta game that we referenced earlier, I think he had something like 140 yards in that game or something like that. So
yeah, that was I think that was his career high in a game.
Oh wow.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, a lot of that came off that Hail Mary, but still he was having a good game before that.
Yeah, for sure.
So on to next week. We've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got to tell you, man, I have never liked the Steelers. I don't think I'm ever going to like the Steelers. I know they're not very good this year, but it seems I cannot tell you the last time the Panthers beat the Steelers in the regular season. I don't even know if it's ever happened.
You
I'm
know
sure it
what?
has, but it's been a long time.
Oh man. Now I'm thinking about it. I actually looked this up not that long ago because I had the same thought.
I
And I
just
wanted it might have been never. It was either like one, it was either once or never, but I'm gonna see if I can find
dude,
it.
it had to be in like the late 90s, like early 2000, like 2001, like in 2000, 2001, 2002. Like, because it has not been in a long time. I feel like every time we play the Steelers, we get absolutely mollywopped.
Yeah. As long as I can remember.
It never fails. I remember, what was it? Was it the year we went 2012, 20, and what, 2013? I don't, there was a
Okay.
game we played them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One win in 96, 1996. The score
See,
is
yeah, it's been
18-14.
that long. Are
We've
you
lost
kidding me?
one, two, three, four, five, six in a row to the Steelers. One
Oh
and
my,
six all time.
oh,
The last one being the 52-21 Thursday night football game that basically ended Cam Newton's career and destroyed our franchise for the foreseeable future.
yep. There was that one, which was oh man, that was such a bad night. I remember that day. I spent all day thinking about the Panthers are going to show them that we are legit, and then we got absolutely dismantled, and Cam Newton's career was just hanging on by a thread at that point, and they cut that thread.
His
Uh,
career and his shoulder were hanging on by a thread at
yes,
that point.
and it was over. And then I also remember this game. This could have been 2011, 2012. We played them on Sunday Night Football one time, I remember, and we got absolutely annihilated that
That
game too.
was 2014,
2014. Okay.
Kelvin Benjamin's rookie year. Because I remember Chris Collinsworth going off about how amazing he was after he caught a meaningless touchdown at the end of the game.
Yes. So I remember that. But yeah, it's never been the other than that, we played the Steelers every preseason, but that doesn't count. But all we do is lose to the Steelers, and I'm tired of it. And I really want to go to this game. I don't think I'm going to be able to, but I would love to go. But that my plea here to Panthers fans that are for sure going to this game, please show up, show out, talk some smack, because Steelers fans travel, and there's a lot of Steelers fans here in North Carolina. They are going to show up at this game. That's the reason ticket prices are so high. Not because the Panthers are playing better, because the Steelers are in town and they have a traveling fan base. I looked at tickets for this game. We could sit in the nosebleeds for like 130 plus fees for like 160. We could go to the Lions game the following week, sit down low midfield for like $100. The
Yeah.
Lions have a better football team this year than the Steelers. It's crazy.
Like you said, man, Steelers got fans everywhere. And they got a lot of them in North Carolina. It's made me sick my entire life. It'll never stop making me sick. I hate the Steelers. I hope we beat their ass on Sunday.
I would love nothing more than that, to just finally get a win over the Steelers. That would be fantastic. And doing it at home, that would be great. I would love to make Steelers fans cry. And then they're like, oh, 6 Super Bowls. And I'm like, okay.
We got to do it, man. Got to win.
Um,
Big
so,
game.
so
I don't know if
looking at
it's a
this,
must win, but if it's not, it's as close to a must win as you can get.
no, this is a must win, because I don't think that Tampa Bay plays Cincinnati next week. I don't think they win that game.
Yeah,
And I
I'm
think,
thinking that's an L. That's the only
and
reason I say I don't think it's a must win, because if Tampa Bay drops that game, we drop this game. We still have a matchup with Tampa Bay later in the year. So,
you know what?
but
I
hey,
have thought
let's get this win anyway.
exactly. Let's win this game. And I have, to add on to your point, I've thought about the hypothetical looking at the line. People keep saying that, oh, it's you got an easy schedule. we play the Saints the last game of the year. If there's one team that will absolutely try to ruin everything for us in a meaningless win, it will be the Saints. And I do not want to risk it.
Well,
Let's
and the
go
other
out and
thing we
play this
can't
game.
forget is that this isn't a two-horse race either. The whole division's still alive. The whole
Correct.
division basically has the same record. The Saints are just as much in it as us and the Bucks are, and so are the Falcons. So you know, it's anybody's
It's
game.
Yeah, it is anybody's race. So every game counts. And that's what I love about Steve Wilkes preaching this past week, that this is a playoff game. This is a playoff mentality. Going into an environment like this. And I know the Seahawks aren't what they were a couple of years ago, but they're still, they have a winning record. And Seattle's tough to play, and I don't care what the record is. So this is a playoff environment. They went there and they won that game. So I love that mentality that they have.
Let's get it, man. And I think our team's in a good spot and can beat Pittsburgh. Especially our defense. I think our defense has all the tools to really lock Pittsburgh down for this game. And if we can pound the ball the way we have been, I think if we get to 20 or 24 points, we should be, that should be more than enough for us to get this win, assuming our defense plays close to what they're capable of playing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's going to be interesting because we're not sure which quarterback we're going to face. Kenny Pickett went out with a concussion in that game. Mitch Trubisky came in, threw 3 interceptions. Despite that, still had a chance to win the game, but they did not. So I'd rather play Mitch because I feel like he's more prone to mistakes, but I feel like we could also take advantage of a young quarterback and make some things happen. Steelers, they're a very similar team. They do have some nice threats on the outside, but they just don't have a quarterback to really get them the ball consistently, such as DJ Moore and the Panthers offense.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
And as far as their defense, they're solid. They're middle of the road. My buddy Alex Highsmith will be coming home this week. Wilmington
Yep, this is
native
true.
playing for the Steelers. That should be cool to see. And yeah, at the end of the day, I think right now the Steelers are kind of playing for draft position at this point. Not saying they're going to roll over, but this game has more meaning to the Panthers, and I think that they're rolling right now. They're in a good position. They can come out, keep doing what they're doing, and just Darnold can make a couple plays, man. That's the recipe, and I feel like this is our year to finally take down the Steelers in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, here we are. It's been over 25 years since we beat the Steelers. So
I'm gonna have to go back and ask my dad, hey, what was it like to beat the Steelers? Because you're the only person alive that knows what it feels like.
pretty crazy. Pretty crazy that it's been that long. Who would have guessed?
Oh, yeah. But all in all, that's all I got for this matchup. I think the Panthers do take care of business, win this game, and I'll be interested to see. Or it feels like, I know you don't really care about this, but I'm a uniform guy. It seems like they've got away from the gray pants. It's black and white now. It seems to be the home uniform thing now.
I haven't noticed.
I know you haven't. Anyways, we'll see. How do you feel about the white tops and the black pants? Personally, I love it.
I like it as well.
I think with a black helmet, it would be even better.
Oh, I think so too. I think it's I'm not saying there's no place for the white bottoms and the white tops, but it is a nice change of pace every now and then to switch it up a little bit.
It is. I feel like the Panthers have been in the midst of a uniform crisis for the past like 3 or 4 years. Like they keep trying stuff and it kind of works, but then they don't really do it and then they do it again. I don't know. I feel like they can't make up their mind if they want to like get new uniforms. I don't know.
I think they have a lot of things they look good in.
Especially winning. Boom. Well, that is our show for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. As always, keep pounding. Panthers looking to get to 6-8 on the season and trying to win this NFC South division, which is the best division in football easily.
No doubt. Easily. Come on now.
What else
Peace
can you
out.
say? See you guys.
Keep pounding, world. Let's get this dub.